guys. Good afternoon, right here from the city of Philadelphia. How have you guys been? Those working at home remotely, hope it's been fun. Those in the office, those on break, and those caught up in traffic. I know it happens sometimes. Hope everything is moving on smoothly. As usual, I will be giving just a minute to allow you guys to come in before we start the business of the day. And of course, I can see on my attendees list a couple of familiar names. You guys are welcome. I'm going to say this. Today is indeed a great day. Just give me a couple of minutes and I will explain to you why it is a great day. Like I said, I will be giving just a minute. I can see a couple of, quite a number of names on my attendees list. Again, I will just take it off from here, even as more people join us for the event. Good afternoon once again and welcome. For those of you guys that are joining us for the first time, my name is Galba Esahaya, and I'm one of the training coordinators with the Temple Small Business Development Center. The Temple Small Business Development Center helps small business start and grow. We offer free one-on-one consulting and a variety of low to no-cost webinars. We are part of the nationally accredited network of the Small Business Development Centers, which has over 1,000 networks across the state. You are here this afternoon for a webinar on create a project plan with Google Sheets. A copy of the PowerPoint and the link to the recording will be sent to all the attendees. Being a webinar, all the attendees have been muted. However, we always encourage you guys to drop your questions on the Q&A and the chat box. I did say a few minutes or seconds ago that today is indeed a great day. And the main reason why I say that is because today happens to be the first day I will be moderating event for Soleil. Please, without further ado, allow me to welcome her even as she takes over the floor for the presentation. You're welcome, please.
Thank you, Garba. Thank you so much. Welcome and good afternoon, everyone. My name is Soleil Meade. I am the Pennsylvania Grow with Google Digital Coach, and I am very excited to be with you all today and to share about an amazing way for us to better organize our projects and events and different goals that we have within our business using Google Sheets. So one of the things I want to make sure that I do is I would love to get to know you all a little better. Sometimes as I go through my presentations, I might use one of your businesses to help us better understand how we can utilize a project or a task. So if you want to network and drop your name in the chat, you can go ahead and do that now. I also want to let you know that I will be in the chat posting some prompts, asking you questions to you to respond, 1 for yes, 2 for no, 2, just so I can get an idea of how you are understanding or connected to the information that we're sharing. So I'm going to go ahead and jump right on into the presentation. My name is Soleil Meade. Again, I am your Grow with Google Digital Coach for the Pennsylvania area. And I also am the founder and owner of Soleil Branding Essentials, which is a full service graphic design and web design agency. We also help our clients bring their vision to life through marketing and brand strategy. I absolutely love serving visionaries. Us as visionaries and people who even serve visionaries are so important. And we need tools and skills like we cover in our digital coaches program, all of the resources that Temple SBDC provides to you to help us to allow our businesses to truly thrive. So all of my contact information is on this sheet, and I'm also going to drop it in the chat as well. I'm so glad to see a bunch of you checking in. Pearl, Melissa, good morning, Kim. Thank you for telling me more about your business and what you do. I see we have a staffing agency, a construction firm that specializes in diversity and equity inclusion strategies, which is so necessary in our world today. Hi, Regina. I'm so excited to meet you all, and I can't wait to navigate through this presentation. And don't forget, there's part 2. So if you're not signed up, make sure you signed up for part 2. Next week, we'll dig even deeper into talking about Google Sheets and project management. I also want to share some information with you all about the Digital Coaches program. I am going to share some hashtags and an actual link in the chat there that you can connect with our digital coaches program online. We exist to serve small business owners with emphasis on Black and Brown small business owners to help bridge that digital divide that exists for us so we can truly thrive. So here is our agenda for today. So we are going to talk about project management, but we are going to make project management real to you as a small business owner and not think of it from the lens of a project manager role. Sometimes when we think about it that way, it prevents us to see how we can apply project management skills to our day-to-day life. We're going to do it in 3 steps. We're going to talk about planning, tracking, and sharing. And we'll get into each of those. At the end of each of those segments, I'll pause and ask questions and get some feedback from you all. And then we will go ahead and stop with resources and a recap of what we are doing today. So I do want you to be comfortable, ask your questions in the chat. I will do my best to monitor them as we move along, but I also will make sure I make room for question and answer at the end. So let's go ahead and do an introduction to project management. And a definition of project management is it is the way that a person organizes the resources that are necessary for them to complete a project. So with that, it means anyone can do it. When you are looking at the goals of project management, when you apply that skill set to anything that you're doing, you're wanting to identify the work that's being done. You're wanting to make sure that you plan it out properly so it can be executed. You want to make sure that that project management includes communicating with a team or stakeholders that are connected to that project. You want to make sure things keep moving smoothly, you deliver in a timely manner and within budget. So all of those things are important. And today, when we cover project management, we're going to give you some tools on how you can navigate all of those responsibilities in one template or in one spreadsheet that is going to hold all those details about the projects. And again, you don't have to be a professional project manager to need and use these skills. Here are some different other types of projects that you might manage. And I really do encourage you to take this even outside of your business needs. Sometimes people need a project management skills for a weight loss program or home improvements to their house, searching for a job or planning an event. All of those are reasons why you would implement some of the skills we're about to learn today. So again, these are the 3 steps that we're going to focus on today: planning the project out, tracking the project, and then sharing the results with whoever needs to know them. So we are going to talk about several skills that are going to help us with the process, including a project proposal and a presentation that you can use to share the results. We're going to even talk about designing a project tracker and giving you some empowerment tools that are going to allow you to customize that tracker so it makes the best sense for you. So that's a little high-level overview of what we'll be jumping into today. So let's jump right into it and talk about our first step, which is planning. So a good project manager will always begin with project goals or an objective. That is so important. If you are planning an event and you don't have clear goals set for that event, then you are absolutely going to find yourself, and really it'll just feel like you're chasing tasks that need to be done in order for that event to happen. Whenever you set a plan and you set goals, it allows you to be intentional throughout each phase of the process, all the way up into execution, and even all the way up until the post events after whatever you are planning for. You probably will have all types of ideas and thoughts about why you want to complete the project and what you hope to accomplish, but it's important that you want to fine tune those thoughts and organize them in a way that is going to have a solid reflection on your business and the goals that you have attached to it. So throughout this presentation, you will be introduced to these different products and tools that we have. And the slideshow is going to show you step by step how you would navigate, find and edit and fine tune those things within the Google Sheets or Google Docs, which we're using as well. So let's first talk about a project proposal. So a project proposal is a single document that you can use, and it lays out the vision, the goals, and the motivations of your project. So I like to call this project proposal is like the foundation or like the heartbeat of your project. This is where the visionary in you can come out. This is where you sat back and you're like, hey, I want to plan this client appreciation event for my clients. Why? Because I wouldn't be there without them. Why? Because they're the ones that keep me financially stable. And my goal is to retain them as continued loyal clients, introduce them to the new services that I have, and ensure that I show my appreciation to them at this event. So you see how I fine-tuned those goals, where I didn't say, oh, client appreciation would be nice, but there's a why connected to it. That is so important to keep at the core of your planning, because when you're presenting this proposal, this is where you get to be free and envision what you want to see, weave in your why and your goals. So the tasks that are attached to it always stem from the goals that you set. So let's move on to the next slide. And this is literally about to take you through step by step on how you can create a project proposal. If you do have the capacity as you're following this presentation, I highly recommend that you follow through these steps as we go through them. Then you'll get more comfortable about how to pull up the template, how to edit it, and follow right along with the presentation. So you always want to begin, especially with your business, logging into Google and actually signing into the account that is connected to whatever your business is. So make sure you're not using your personal Gmail account, but your Google Workspace account or your Google business email. So you want to go ahead and sign in. Again, making sure that you're using the proper steps. You want to go ahead and create an account. This is showing you here what you would do if you want to create an account, but I'm sure most of you already have one. The next thing you want to do is access the drive. So in the Google Apps, those dots, that's considered the Google Apps tool. So when you click on the apps, it's going to bring up all of the apps and the tools that we provide with Google. So you want to click on that and access Google Drive. As you can see in the slideshow, you click the apps, it's pulling up all of those, and you go ahead and click on Drive. So now that you're in Drive, which is where all of your documents are stored at, which is an amazing tool for you to keep all of your business information, the back-end information, your marketing materials, your brand materials. You want to store them in your Google Drive. And we're going to use Drive to create your new project planning files, and then keep the ones that you are also working on or you already have in your Drive as well. So I want to invite you all to the templates that are available in all of our Google apps, which are amazing. So when you go into the Google Docs, you're going to see where you can actually create a template or select a template to use for your project proposal. A template is a sample document or other project that already has some formatting into place. And that's why I love templates, because you don't feel like you're starting from scratch. Sometimes if, creating spreadsheets or creating a process document or a proposal document isn't quite your thing, you can kind of feel a little bit intimidated on starting one straight from scratch, but these templates are here to save you. So what you want to do from Drive is you're going to hit New, and then you're going to go to Google Docs and then select from a template. I'm going back because I moved the slide forward a little bit too quickly. Then you're going to scroll down because it's going to take you into the template library. The template library has all of these different categories in which there are templates for. You have home, work, business, and you're going to scroll down to the work templates, in which contains project proposals. And as you can see, it is demonstrating for you on the slide which one you would click on. So you would click on that and open it up. And this project proposal template is going to have you focus on an overview of your project, the goals that are associated with it, specifications or details about your project, and milestones, which are so important to capture. And we're going to get into each of those. So when you look at a project plan, every project plan is going to have an overview. This is where, again, that visionary comes to life, and you explain and define what it is you're trying to do and why you're trying to do it, or what you want to accomplish. So if someone reads it, they clearly can understand that this is what they would like to accomplish through presenting this project to me. So once you have the name of your project, which you would edit there at the top, then you can go ahead and start to edit the information that follows. So one of the things that you want to ask yourself is, what are the goals of your project? You want to use goals that are going to help you to break down your project and to remember your why, your purpose, and why you want to do it. Here's an example. If you're starting a restaurant, one of your goals might be to have fine dining that is accessible to more people. Or you might want to offer people a place to gather with their family and friends. If it's a hair salon, maybe you want to help people feel more confident about themselves or create a new hairstyle. I know we have someone on the line that focuses in on diversity, equity, and inclusion. So one of the goals of your project might be to create a level ground where all people of all different walks of life in this business can understand diversity, equity, and inclusion from a strong foundation. So again, your goals are not the same as tasks. Your goals are absolutely your why and your purpose and what you want others to gain and what motivates you for even taking the project on. So once you get all the goals set, then you are going to want to add specifications, or I like to call them details or parameters around your project. So if it's a restaurant that makes fine dining more accessible, then some of the specifications may be that you want to have this in an area of your city that does not have a lot of dining resources. Or maybe one of the details is that this fine dining experience will be curated around your personal culture and the food that's connected to your culture. So now you're beginning to create details about why this project is important that are going to be weaved into your project plan. The other thing that I want to talk about are milestones. So a milestone is a significant event that actually marks the progress or the steps that have been successfully taken towards an overall goal. So I know many of you can probably connect with this as a visionary. If I set a goal to do something, and this is my goal, and my goal is to hire on more staff in 2023. And then the end goal is actually seeing that come to pass. Like, there should be milestones or markers in between. I had my first successful interview, might be a good milestone. I did a successful background check on my new potential employee. I looked into or had a consultation with benefits advisor about providing benefits to my employees. And again, those will begin to become tasks, but the milestones are those significant events that show that you're moving towards your overall goal. An example for the hair salon, the goal might be to make people feel confident, and a milestone might be finding a space that's warm and welcoming. And then later, a milestone might be to send thank you notes from a client that tells them that you feel like they look beautiful at their last appointment. So again, your milestones, your specifications, all wrap back to your goal and what that is. So as you all can see, is the PowerPoint is just showing you how when you pull up that project proposal, you are literally going through step by step and editing that template and putting your information in there. So here is an example of some other project proposals that may be available in the template gallery. And these are 3 different ones. And they have the core information about having goals, about the specifications and milestones, but they may look and present the information a little differently. You don't have to choose a proposal to work on right now, but we just wanted to introduce that to you all. So I'm going to go ahead and check the chat for questions and pause here, but I'm going to also ask in the chat, what questions do you have about project proposals? And if you're going to begin using them or consider using them, let me know in the chat. Type 1 for yes and 2 for no. So I see someone asked about if the presentation is going to be available. We do have a handout that we make available with a lot of our workshops. Unfortunately, we can't share the actual slides, but you'll absolutely get access to the handout by the end of today when we're done. And then we'll also make sure the Temple SBDC staff will make sure that you have the handout as well. And Amelia, I know you asked which one I selected, and that was the actual project proposal template. So when you scroll down to work at the bottom, I think there's 4 that are there, and we're actually going to get into all of them today. But the one that I selected was the project proposal. And again, this slide that we're on now shows there's a couple of different ones you can look into. And I really just encourage you all to take a look. And I'm so glad to hear so many of you all are going to actually begin using a project proposal. And we are actually about to get into tracking now. So let's go ahead and continue on in the presentation. So let me go back. So tracking a project is so important. So that's what we're going to focus on in this step 2 of our presentation today. So what we want to consider is, what are the tasks that need to be done in order for this project to be successful? When do they need to be done by, and who is going to do it? Those are absolutely imperative questions that need to be asked and responded to ensure the success of an event, to ensure accountability, to ensure that you stay on the time marks that you need in order to execute properly. So let's get into talk about building a project tracker. So a project tracker is what's going to keep track of those 3 things that I just mentioned. It is shifting you from the proposal realm where we had the capability to be visionaries and talk about our why and talk about our purpose and what we wanted to see. But now we need to get down to the nitty gritty and actually create tasks and requirements in order to make that vision come to life. So that's what this tracker's purpose is. We are going to take those goals and then break them down into manageable tasks. For example, we'll use the restaurant again. They want to make the fine dining more affordable for people. So one task that they might have is designing a menu, and another task might be finding affordable vendors to service their restaurant. So again, we are now fine-tuning how do we, what are the tasks that are needed in order to make this project successful. So a tracker is going to help you tackle these items, as well as keep the pulse on the bigger picture, to keep the pulse on your why and your vision as well. So a lot of projects that we would take on probably have a lot of tasks that we need to track. So setting up a spreadsheet from one project to the next is something that you might find yourself doing. And whenever you are looking at a spreadsheet or a tracker, most of these core elements that I discussed a couple slides ago you'll find. I mean, you can always build upon that, which will show, but definitely you want to list the task, who's responsible for the task, and when the due date is. So let's go ahead and look at creating an actual project tracker from a template. So again, you're going to go to your Google Apps, and now you're going to click on slides. And then from there, you're going to click on, there you go, new. And then you're going to go to Google Sheets and then go to from a template. You're going to scroll down until you see the project management category, which I believe there are several different templates there. Then what you're going to do is you are going to go ahead and look at the library of various templates that Google Sheets has available. And we're going to go to the project management template, and we are going to go ahead and select the project tracking template. So I'm going to go through several of these because it's really important, because we're going to invite you into each of these different project trackers so you can choose which one is best for whatever project you're working on. So this particular one we're going to look at first on the slideshow is the event marketing timeline template. So this is one that is going to help you to manage a lot of marketing or public facing tasks. This is a spreadsheet that is excellent for social media content. So if you're posting on social media, this could be a great way to coordinate the ads or the content, the different images and things that you would use into executing a social media campaign. You can also track market research and different type of advertising using the categories that are built into this template. Because again, you might have a whole separate template for the event that you're hosting, but having an event marketing one will make sure that you didn't put in all this work to make the event happen, but not also put in the work to make sure that it has the visibility and the exposure needed to get the room full and for you to have a completely successful event. So if you want to track an entire project, like if you're doing a project launch or something of the sort, then the project timeline template is one that we are looking at next. So like the previous template, it includes that visual timeline as well, but it also includes sections where you can lay out like the phases of the product launch that you are trying to execute. It really allows you to build into the project from start to finish. So that is the mindset that you want to have whenever you're choosing this particular template. Am I trying to monitor from conception to execution? And this one would be a good one. And then next, we are going to talk about the project tracking spreadsheet. These are ones that could be for more focused, like budget data. Like if you need to see numbers, this would be an excellent one. It has a built-in column for like tracking a task priority and even drop down list. So you can say like, okay, this task is easy and this task is difficult. That will help you to assign it to the right person, to put the right time parameters around it, so on and so forth. But this is a great template to use if you need to see the numbers of whatever it is that you're working on. If you need to see data, this is a great one to get into. And then lastly, there is the Gantt chart. And like the one in the Gantt chart template, it helps you organize your task by date. So if you are like, I need this thing to flow from October 1st until the end of the year, then this one would be a great one for you to use. It's going to show the relationship between the many pieces that make up your project. So again, wrapping back to that timeline, you're going to see why having the staff meeting for you all to conceptualize what the event is going to look like is important as you move down the time frame, and you see now why certain people are assigned to certain tasks. So we had the meeting first. Now we're starting to assign who is over event decor, who is over day of preparation and pre and post event. So again, this Gantt chart is going to help you kind of roll through. The one thing I want to point out about this one is that it includes formatting like color coding in the middle. And one really cool thing about the color coding is it is going to change based off of your progress of the project. So if a task is complete, it's going to automatically turn it a bright green. But if it's in progress, those ones are lighter because you still are making progress towards completing the task. That tool and the color coding is what we like to call conditional formatting. So if you come back next week, we're going to get into that deeper to show you how you can do that on your own. So all of these templates have very similar parts. And what I want to encourage you to do is to edit it so it works for you and your business and your brand. But each one are more than likely going to include the status of the project, the priority, the start and end dates and deadlines that are needed, the task at hand, and who is responsible for the task. So I'm going to pause right there and I'm going to ask you all, what questions do you have about project trackers? If you ask a really detailed question, then I may refer you to next week's portion because we will probably get into it more there. And I hope you can make it to next week. But if you can't, I know that Temple SPDC is amazing and this recording will be available on YouTube as well. All right. I see that Samantha is saying that this could be used for the steps required to start a business through opening. Yes, absolutely. And what you want to do is don't overwhelm yourself. If you have a business and what's today, October 11th, and you want to have your grand opening for your business on the 1st of January, then there are almost, and we'll get into this in a couple of segments, but there's like all of the back end stuff that you need to do, making sure you register your business with the state. If it's a storefront business, you have to find a location, but then you also are going to have a grand opening event. Even it might just be an online event or exposure, but you want to make sure you manage that project as well. But yes, certain of these different ones, you want to make sure you think about everything from the very start to the end that needs to happen in order for you to say, I've opened my business. This project plan has helped me move through step by step. So I see someone is saying, do they allow for time tracking, comparing estimates versus actuals? So I definitely think we'll end up getting into that next week. And if it doesn't go into those exact details, Amelia, what we'll do is we'll take some of next week's question and answer to look at that, because some of what the template doesn't do, we can create the sheet to do it for us. So if you want to do time tracking, which I highly recommend a tool called Toggle for time tracking. So for instance, you might not be able to time track in Google Sheets, but that can be a requirement for you and your team to have the Toggle app loaded onto their computer. And then you put a column on your sheet where they tell you how much time they spend on each task. I personally have learned over time that time tracking is brilliant. And it's not you clocking your team or your staff's time or your own time. It's really you having an idea of how much time you spend on doing something. Then the next event that comes along like this, you're going to know, oh my gosh, well, last time we did this, it took over, 300 hours of time between me and my team. We probably need to start planning this another 3 months in advance than we did last time. And maybe the time won't feel as heavy. So again, data empowers you. It gives you insight on your task and things. Okay, somebody said they use Toggle. I think the paid version might allow you to compare like estimates and create projections, but I also think that's something that Sheets will do as well. And again, we can cover that next week because it's a little bit more detailed. And give me 1 second and I'll put the Toggle track link in the chat for you all. And I have one more question I'm going to drop in the chat. I want to know, what template did you find most interesting or that you might try? based off of the ones that we talked about. So if you'll try the project timeline, I would say drop a 1. If it's a tracking sheet, 2. If it's event marketing, 3. The Gantt chart, or 5. If all of them you think that you find interesting and you may explore more. Love to see it. I would love for you all to follow up with me or my friends at Temple SBDC and let us know how these templates are working for you as you begin to implement them. All right, y'all. So let me go ahead and move into creating customizations in your project chapter, or your project tracker, excuse me. So you will want to do things like format cells, just to make your tracker more clean and consistent and easy to follow. You might want to color code certain categories, create groupings, add checkbox to a spreadsheet, which I love the way that Google Sheets allows us to do that. It's so awesome. And I'm about to show you all of these things. So today we're going to build a customized project tracker for a sample class project. So the images that you see on this slideshow is of a user's computer screen as if they were creating a blank template. You can follow along with me as I go through it. So we are going to keep moving forward with this example of this farm to table restaurant. And we're going to use this example to build this tracker with these customizations we're going to cover. So the first thing you want to do is click new, and then you're going to go ahead and select Google Sheets. And instead of from a template, you're going to do from a blank spreadsheet. So now what you see on the screen is this spreadsheet is now open. You see circled at the top is untitled spreadsheet. So there you want to go ahead and name your project, whatever that is. In this case, we might name it, you know, farm to table restaurant. Its name is Batch. So we're going to name it Batch. There you go, Batch farm to table restaurant. So in the first row of your spreadsheet, what you want to do is you want to be intentional about thinking about what information you want to actually pull down. So in the first row of your spreadsheet, we are going to organize the information that is contained in the spreadsheet. So that's where your headers or your titles will go. So the first one that we'll start with is task. So now we went ahead and created that first column of task. And then now we list some tasks there. So now we want to label the other columns that are going to help you manage this task list or this project tracker. So what you'll see on your screen is that now we have labeled it dates or deadlines, and you're typing in deadlines for each task. And then you want to create another column that might read something differently, like due date. So you might have your start date, or I often use like when the project was assigned, you know, so this is when it was assigned, and then when it is due, and then when it is completed. That lets me know whether or not myself and the team are staying up on our deadlines. It's letting me know how much time it's taking us to do it. So for instance, if I assign something today and I tell them that it is due by next Monday, and then they complete it by Wednesday, then that might let me know next time I assign a similar task like this, I don't need to give it a whole week. Again, data is so empowering to how we function and flow our business. So now we want to look into the actual fact that you can format these columns so that all the dates look the same. You know, we might type in 7/31/22, you know, for our dates, but you might want them all to look alike. And again, when you're looking at a spreadsheet, it's a lot of information. So that clean consistency is important. So the first thing you want to do is highlight the cells that contain the dates. And now you see on the screen, it's showing you that once you highlight all the dates, you want to then open the format menu, and then you want to choose number and then date. And then you can change the arrangement of the date as well. So that is going to allow you, like once you choose whatever date format you want, all of that data is now going to look the same. So if it's Monday, Tuesday, October 11th, 2022, then every date that is entered will format to have the day of the week, the month, the date, and the year. So let's look at creating more columns, which is something that you may want to do. So again, when you're on a template, it already has the columns created for you, but you might find that you need to pull down some more information. I had someone ask about projections. That might be a column that's important for you, because maybe you can set the tone and the standard for what you expect from that particular task or from the event, and that can be tracked. So let's add a couple of columns. We're going to add owners, so you know who the task is assigned to, and we're going to add notes. That's another. This layout is typically my favorite simple task list layout. So first you want to add the heading for the owner task. That's who's taking responsibility for it. And then you want to go ahead and add it for your notes. So the categories, again, are up to you, and you can create them for whatever information that you may need. Here's another customization that could be very important to you. So depending on the size or the purpose of your project, you can have a long task list, meaning that, we're starting and looking here and it is, row 1. But what if you have 102 tasks for your opening your business project? Then freezing the header row is so important, because what it'll do is it's going to allow you to keep in front of you those header categories that are important to you, even as you scroll through your spreadsheet. So it just makes it easier for you to navigate. So what you first want to do is select the whole row, the header row. And then the slide here is showing you, once you go to view, and then you select freeze, and then you make sure you want to freeze row 1. Now, say for instance, you put a header in the first column that says, I'm going to use farm to table launch event sheet, because you wanted a title. Then if that's the case, if your header bar is in row 2, you want to freeze row 2. So wherever your header bar is, once you follow these steps, you want to go ahead and freeze it. And now those headings are going to stay visible as you scroll down throughout your screen, as you can see on the slide. So you can also make the header row stand out even more by adding formatting. So if you want to use your brand colors and create a color behind your header row, then you would want to select that row and you can bold it, or you can add a fill color. As you can see on the slide here, it's showing you where those items are located on your menu bar. So again, you can make that whatever makes sense for you. Next, I want to talk about grouping elements. I love this feature. I think it is really, really cool. So now we just listed all of our tasks, and we probably typically put the task in order of however they came to our mind. But what if you're working in a multi-stage process? Like, for instance, someone had mentioned earlier about opening a business, and we might have the phase where, okay, this is our creation phase where we're having staff meetings and we're getting surveys from people in the area about their need for the business, and we're researching things. But then we're going to move into the execution phase where we are getting our logo created and having brand meetings, talking about what we want our social media presence to look like. So here's these different phases, and this customization tool is amazing for it. So what grouping does is it allows you to group tasks together, so it makes you able to prioritize those tasks easier. So first thing you want to do is arrange your tasks. So now you have all of them on the sheet. What you want to do is you want to click the row that you are looking to move around twice. Or sometimes you can just hover over the line between that row and the one above it or below it, and a little hand icon will appear. Once that hand icon appears, it means that you can move it around. So the first thing you want to do if you want to group your task is you want to move your task around and lump them together, even in the order that you want them to be completed in. So then you want to start to create your categories for the task. So again, let's use the example I just said. The first is the creation stage. So you're going to go ahead and insert a new row. And as you see on the screen, it's showing you how to insert that row. You want to go to add a row. If you, go to insert and then add row. You can also right click on that first column where your rows are listed and click add a row. And then in that row, you're going to add the name of the category. So we talked about the creation category. We talked about the, I think we talked about like the branding category. And then we might talk about the event launch. So now you want to create a row for each of those different categories. This is going to make it easier whenever you are looking at your spreadsheet, as you can see here. So this is where all the magic happens. So you organize your tasks, you added your row, and now you're going to go ahead and group them. So what you want to do is select the rows that have all the tasks in them. And then you're going to hold the shift key. And that's a way that you can do it. You can hold the shift key and click on your first task and click the other one. But nonetheless, once you get them all selected, however you select them, you want to right click it and then you want to select group rows. What it does is it creates to the left of your screen, you will see this drop down almost where there is like the minimize or the maximize button that you can push. And or you can click and then it will show all the tasks that are in each of those categories. It's a really, really cool tool. And then one of my favorites is adding checkboxes. I know I love me a checkbox in a spreadsheet. Like, please, I mean, that is our mark. That's one of our milestones. That's our mark of completion. And it's really easy to add a checkbox. So what you want to do is add a new column. And we've already covered how you would do that. And then whatever row you want that checkbox to go into, if you want multiple ones, you select multiple ones. And then you can add a column right in there. Go ahead and click insert. And then you can go ahead and click checkbox. And it will populate all of the checkboxes for you. So I covered a lot there with the customization. So I'm going to drop in the chat the question of which customizations or what questions do you have about customizations? And then I also want to know which ones do you think you'll use? So 1 for grouping, 2 for freezing rows, 3 for adding and formatting dates and columns, 4 for color coding categories. And then 5 for checkboxes, because that's my favorite one. I love it. And then you said all the above, Charles. I love to hear that. They are really great tools to help you navigate your spreadsheets. I'm going to check the chat to see if there were any questions. It doesn't look like it. So I'm going to go ahead and move into our final part, which is about sharing and working with someone or multiple people. Literally, you can have a whole team of 40 or 50 people working in a spreadsheet, checking their task off, assigning tasks to them. Super excited to introduce that to you. So again, we have already talked about planning the project from its onset, getting those goals set and ready. Then we talked about tracking it, taking that goal to creating this task list with actionable items, an execution date, so we can actually see our project vision come to life. And now we're going to talk about the importance of sharing this project. So those who need it, whether it's your team or sometimes you share with your stakeholder or a partner that you're working with in a way that is going to help you continue to flow with the project. So let's go ahead and get into talking about sharing your tracker. So now you created this tracker and now you have the ability to give people access to important files. That's one of my favorite things about the Google apps and the products and tools, the ability to share information, to collaborate on a file, and doesn't have to be on a specific computer, as long as you can access your account in which your document is shared in. You can get in there, you can work with someone else at the same time in a sheet, which is absolutely phenomenal. And those are just some of the benefits that are happening. So here you will see how on this slide, we are empowering you to share your tracker with someone. So once you're in the tracker, you go ahead and click share, and then you add that person's email. Important parts here, you want to be able to select the type of access you want to give them. So you can either allow them just to view it, to say, hey, I want to show you the progress of our project so far, to get your feedback. Maybe it's an investor in your restaurant or your business, and you just want to show them how you've been working. You can also make someone an editor. Maybe it's one of the vendors that you're working with, and they need to take responsibility of some tasks you put on a list for them. So whatever the case may be, is completely up to you to add those who you want to have access in their role, as well as if they have the ability to share the link, you can make it restricted. So if it is a private document that is only for the people who are added to the share list, then you want to make sure it's restricted. If your vendor maybe wants to share it with someone on their team, you may want to allow anyone with the link to have access. Those are just some of the different share ways that you can maneuver that. So here on this slide, you see a completed spreadsheet tracker in Google. As your project is growing, your spreadsheet will too. So I really encourage you all to stay in your project tracker for the duration of your project tracker. This is just a personal tip. As a business owner to business owner, set a day that every week that you check this project tracker and it's progress. Like, absolutely, it will help you feel like you are more in control and you know what's going on with your event, you know what you need to follow up on, so on and so forth. So we are wrapping up here. I just want to do this overview of what we covered today. So we talked about the planning piece. This is where you get to put your visionary hat on, set your goals, iron out the details and make them plain and visible. And then you also want to go ahead and create milestones. You know, what are those big events or things that are going to happen that's going to let you know that we are progressing forward? If you're hosting a launch event, and maybe one of them is ensuring that the media is coming to your launch event, that's a milestone. You want to make sure you do that. You also want to track your project. Now it's just not a great idea, but it is also actionable items, a task list that is going to literally march you from start to finish on your project. And once you make that task list, you are going to share it with everybody who needs to have it, and get in there. I want to share with you all the handout for today's workshop. I'm going to go ahead and drop it in the chat. If you click on it, you'll be able to access it from a drive. I highly recommend just saving it to your drive so you can access it. I'm going to go ahead and share a couple of Google resources with you all. There is one page that you may want to screenshot if you would like to, that has a list of all of these different Google products and services that are available to you. But the two I'll discuss is Google certificates, career certificates. I'm actually taking the digital marketing and e-commerce one myself right now. Highly recommend, if you are looking to grow your skill. If you're a small business owner and you're like, I just want to know more about digital marketing, I don't want to do it, but I want that high level knowledge, come on and take the career certificate. They really will help you grow your business and your knowledge around your business and things associated with it. We also have YouTube, where you can learn online and grow with Google on YouTube. So I'm about to drop both of those links in the chat so you can tap into those resources. And also google.com/grow is another great one. That's for any and everyone who is looking to grow somehow in their career or their digital skills. We have a whole platform, a ton of resources for people. So this next part are your next steps. I'm so anxious to hear from you all. What's next for you after this workshop? What are you going to do? What is your biggest takeaway from today's workshop? This slide here, I love it because it's giving you a task list for you to say, this is what I want to do for my next steps. So if you don't mind, I would love for you to take a peek at that and let me know what's next for you. Let me know what you are going to take next. Chris, I love that you recommended that you did these project trackers and you use Google Ads. I love to hear that. I think that the event marketing project timeline is helpful because if you're running an ad, you can track it in that project timeline. And last but not least, I am going to share this resource page, and then I'm going to drop the link for my survey as well as my email. If you want to follow up with me with any amazing stories about how you all took a project template and brought it to life for your business, and you had a successful launch event or opening of your business, we want to hear about it. And not just me, my friends at Temple too. We want to hear all about it. So there's my information there. So I am going to, I'm done for right now. If you guys have any questions, I think we have a couple minutes, but I'm going to turn it back over to my friend, Barbara.
Okay, guys, before we move ahead, because we have just a couple of minutes left, and as usual, this goes to my wonderful attendees, even as our wonderful presenter has dropped her survey link. You know, we at Temple SPDC, we always cherish your feedbacks, even as it helps us in improving the services we provide to you guys at a low cost. A few minutes ago, I actually dropped a survey link, but I just posted it for the second time. For those of you guys that didn't see it for the first time, I actually posted. Like she said, we have a couple of minutes left. So if you guys have one or two questions, just try as much as possible and put it on the chat box or the Q&A, and you know, we'll nail it before we call it off for the day. Yeah, but even as we still wait for the question, I just want to use this opportunity to thank each and every one of you guys for keeping it a day with us. Thank you for your time. And to my wonderful presenter, I did told you guys from the onset that today is indeed a good day. Then I'm very sure that you guys can attest to it that the presentation was superb. I love the way the voting went. It was more or less like an interactive section. Thank you for a wonderful presentation, earlier. And I think, do we have any question? Could you pose those?
I don't think so. It looks like Amelia was wanting to have those last, and I think you were talking about the survey link in my email. My email, the two with the email and the g.co links. Okay. Let's see. Yep, I'm gonna paste those.
Yeah.
In here. Was that what you were looking for, Amelia? You got it? I think so. I think that's what she was looking for.
Yeah, I guess to wrap it up once again, just want to thank each and every one of you for keeping it. Can copy the email. Okay, we're good. Yeah, got you. Once again, before we wrap it up, just want to thank each and every one of you guys for keeping it a day with us, and also to my wonderful Temple SPDC colleagues. You know, without them, we wouldn't have been here, and the webinar wouldn't have come into existence. So, yeah, thank you for a wonderful presentation. Thank you guys out there, and do enjoy the rest of your day. Remember to stay safe. Thank you, and have a good one, guys.